Hey guys, first of all, thank you so much for being here. I had some issues connecting to this chat today, so I don't know what was up with that, but sorry that I'm like a minute late. Oh my gosh, if you're in the room, go ahead and say hello. I see so many people here, which is crazy. So thank you so much for being here. I see most of you have already started a discussion without me, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for doing that. So where should we start? Let's just start with this. Hopefully you had a chance to watch my latest theory video, which is about Arya being AD. Some of the questions or comments I've been getting are, well, why are you doing all these different theory videos? You need to make up your mind, whatever. Okay, well, I'm exploring different theories because I don't think there's anyone out there who watches my videos who knows who AD is. So I've explored a couple of people in the past few weeks, and I'm going to probably do that next week if I feel like someone else is a suspect. But for the Monday before the finale, I will release my final guest theory video, so I hope you check that out. But I definitely think there are more than one possibility for who could be AD. So if you think it's just one person, that is cool. You should do a video on that. But I personally think it could be Spencer's twin. It could be Arya's twin. It could be Ren. And I did originally think it could be Mary or Jessica, but I don't think that anymore. So with new episodes, we get new clues and I have new theories. So that is why, if you were wondering, I can't reply to everyone who asked me that question because I got like 6 or 7 of those comments in the last hour. But anyway, but hopefully you have had a chance to watch the Arya's twin is AD video, and I'm very torn between Arya's twin and Spencer's twin being AD at this point. Now, last night when I was making my reaction video, I actually double clicked the record button when everyone was hooking up, and that made me really mad because I was on like a big rant about the scene with Spencer and Toby. Now, I definitely felt weird about that scene because Spencer did not seem normal, but I'm confused because she did have the gunshot wound, or maybe it's self-inflicted. I felt like this was her twin basically, but when they showed the gunshot wound, I'm wondering like how both of them could have it. So either was the twin the one who was shot, or have we been dealing with the twin for a while now? Or did the twin make herself have a wound of some sort? Because even Toby was like looking at it. So did the twin want to appear to have the same wound? I don't know. So let me go to the comments now. And I've been getting tons of comments from you guys about people who I haven't done videos about who you think is AD. So, and I think that's good. I think it's good that everyone has, I think it's fine that people have different opinions. And I don't think people should be like put down or whatever because they don't think that the same person you think is AD. All right. So Dahir says 80s. Okay. No, I'm not going to read that. Another thing I need to mention, if you have any type of spoilers or anything like that, please do not post them. I've been receiving those on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm just not going to read my @ messages for a while because I personally do not want to see spoiler photos from the next 2 episodes or spoiler articles or anything like that. And I know the people who sent them to me did not, if someone honestly, if someone posts any spoilers in here, I'm going to block you out of here because I see more people talking about that and I don't appreciate that. But as far as those of you who sent me stuff on Twitter and Instagram, I know it wasn't meant as malicious or anything, but I just, when I'm getting attachments with photos, I'm not going to look at them because there's no photo that I want to see right now, just because I don't want to be spoiled. And there are photos out there from the next 2 episodes, and I do not want to see those personally. So please do not send those to me. If you send me those, I'm just not going to open your message. So sorry. Let's get back into the chat here and why we're actually here. Claire says you feel like it's Mona again, and you thought that before last night's episode. I do not, because I feel like if anyone has been made look super, super guilty and suspicious, it's Mona, especially last night's episode. So I think there's a reason for that. I think she's kind of obsessed with the game. And, I don't know exactly what she's doing, but maybe, people were asking me like, why, if you think Arya's twin is AD, then why would, and that's Rollins' body in the trunk. And about that, I must have missed that Rollins' the finger that the police got was identified as Rollins. So thank you for everyone who helped me clear that up. But just because there was his body in the trunk doesn't mean that AD is the one who put that body in there. It could be Mona because Mona thinks that it's Arya who's the killer, so she needs to frame her in some way. You just don't know. I mean, we don't have all the pieces, so just because there's a body in the trunk doesn't mean AD did that. Ralph says that Toby was completely weirded out by Spencer's seduction. Another thing about that scene that tied me to another part of the show, I think it was Spencer's twin who was seducing Marco in the elevator whenever that happened. And when she used Detective Fury, I mean, not Detective Fury, but that's who she was seducing. But when she used Rollins' credit card, I really think that was on purpose. Because if Spencer's twin, I do really, really feel strongly that Spencer has a twin. So if she's not AD, I definitely think she is working on the AD team. Now, having two twins, having Arya have a twin and Spencer have a twin is a little ridiculous. I agree. I don't know if they're going to go there. But yes, as Ralph is saying, the hair and the clothing was different in the Spencer-Toby hookup scene. It was definitely something wasn't right. I mean, the only way to explain that differently is to say she does have multiple personalities. We could go there with that, possibly. Tommy says Marco was the one who started flirting with Spencer. Well, I just think it's a really crazy mistake that she used a Rollins credit card, and I find it hard to believe that that was a mistake. Medita Margarita, thank you. Very cool name. Thank you for being here. Lindsay says, do I think full circle means Allison actually dies at the end and all ships end up being together? You know, I don't know. I do expect at least one death and probably more in the finale. And please do not post anything in here if you have seen anything and photos or whatever. Again, please do not. But yeah, I do expect at least one person, and I'm not sure who that's going to be. Hi, Firkin. Thank you so much for being here. Courtney says the Hastings are so screwed up. You see a twin getting by, but you just can't see Arya's mom ignoring one of her children. It's weird. We haven't seen Arya's parents in a really long time. And I've been getting a lot of comments about Mike being AD. I think a few people have asked me on Twitter, but I've attached some kind of photos, so I haven't replied. But my answer for that is no, I don't believe that. You know, yes, anything is possible on this show, but I really do not believe they're going to go with Mike being AD. Like, he would be way, way down on my suspect list for this. Andy doesn't think Allie will die in the finale because who would kill a pregnant girl? Of course, there is a theory going around from several people who believe that she's not even really pregnant. So there's also that. Kaylin, thank you so much for being here. Ralph says Spencer seeing Fury at his apartment was a Spencer from the scene before due to her wearing the jeans with the tear in the thigh. But I was talking about Spencer in the elevator at the Radley, the new Radley or whatever. But you may be replying to someone else. I have no idea. Deja says the dead body in the back of the car that was really meant for Arya or for Ezra. So here's another question. Was that Ezra's car or Arya's car? I don't know. Again, we may not have all the pieces to explain that. It looked like, yes, so AD told her she's the grand prize winner, and the next thing you know, she's framed with that body in whatever car she's driving. So it definitely looked like AD was like double crossing her, but I don't think so. I really don't. And this is the thing, like, why, and this is what I titled my reaction video, why does AD want to protect Arya? What's the deal? You know, so if this is Arya's twin, that makes sense to me, you know, but then a lot of people think, well, maybe it's Ezra. I don't think they're going to go there because they kind of went there before. So I don't know. And love forever. Thank you so much for being here. As Hayden says, the random scene with Ren is driving you crazy. And he is going to, and this is not being a spoiler, this has been put out there, you know, he is going to play a part in the finale. He's supposed to have a big part in the finale. So, I mean, he's coming back. He plays into this somehow, whether he is AD, whether he's, I definitely think if he's not AD, he's, you know, not a good guy, doing something bad. And, you know, I don't know where they're going to go with the finale, but they may make it crazier than what we've seen from them in the past, is all I'm saying about that. No, I don't know the Mockingbird theory. You can tell me if you want to, Avant-Garde. Claire says, would it be more likely A is a guy or a girl? That's hard too. There's two things that make me think a lot that we haven't figured out, and we may not have the pieces to figure them out. And one is something we talked about a lot, and that is who is the father of Allison's baby, considering she really is pregnant, which I feel like she is, because, I mean, who was that random dude that inseminated her or whatever? Like, why was he even who was he? Unless she hired him or something. I don't know, to pretend to be this person. And then why is AD obsessed with who killed Charlotte? There has to be some kind of special relationship there, whether it's a family member of Charlotte a past lover of Charlotte, a past best friend. Okay, so that should give us some kind of clue. Now, when I say we don't have the pieces for that, here's the thing. What if it is somebody's twin? We don't know what kind of relationship they had with Charlotte or why, so we may not be able to figure that out. So one of these people's twins could have been best friends or dating or whatever, Charlotte. And we just don't know that because we don't have that part. And I mean, all that's going to be revealed in the finale. I think like the relationship. I mean, we find out next week who killed Charlotte, which is another big question. And the person I see the most being guessed as who killed Charlotte is Mona, but it's hard. I mean, I did a video about it a couple weeks ago where when I thought that Arya's secret in the file was like huge because something was going to make Ezra go to jail, I said, you know, that's what Ezra did. But now it was really disappointing that the file was just so lame and information was so stupid, and they basically told us that like the week before. Really terrible. Chrissy said, did anyone notice the purple roses that Cece was holding when they found her? They were the same ones sent to Allison. I don't remember that, but that's very observant. Shika says, you think that Arya's twin and Spencer's twin are friends? Did I like the Caleb marriage? Yes, something else that never I talked about and wasn't recording. I had a lot of just me sitting and watching the commercials when I looked at my footage because I was clicking it off when I should have been clicking it on. But anyway, I actually figured it out before the end. You know, things happen, but it sucked. I was like really mad when that happened. Lindsay's asking if I think Maya is still alive. No, I don't. Ralph says if Arya has a twin, then this explains why AD is able to get private and medical documents so easy. Also, Arya is the center character, which makes her everywhere important. You know, Arya and Spencer have been the most focused on people in this second half of the season. And that has to mean something because we're past the time in the show for red herrings and for making someone a star for no reason. I mean, they're the stars of the second half of the season. They've had the most screen time. They've had the biggest storylines. And of course, Arya being this person who AD wants to talk to and has made the winner of the game, it has to mean something. I mean, I really don't think they're just throwing this crap out there. We only have 2 episodes left. I don't think that, you know, they're making her a big part of the show right now just because they've got nothing else to do. Danica says, do I think Spencer and Arya both have a twin or it's one or the other? I mean, I feel 99% sure Spencer has a twin. If not, she definitely has a multiple personality thing. But even so, I don't know, because she's changing clothes and hair and everything. I guess I could go along with that. But I feel very strongly she does. So, I mean, it is kind of silly to me to think that Arya does, but the biggest thing that I can't get out of my head is that she was seen in New Hampshire. So, yes, we do have the masks. They've played into this before. We haven't had them recently. So, was it someone wearing a mask? And then again, why does AD want to protect her so much? If it was someone wearing a mask, why is it that important to AD to make sure Arya is protected? You know, that is a big piece of the puzzle. Who cares so much about Arya that they want her protected and everyone else to go down for all of this? Tommy says the scene I was talking about was shady when Allison fell in the school. Yes, and they actually included that, yes, in the preview, which I thought, man, that's got to mean something, right? They put that on the previously on PLL. Like, why? Because we didn't have any follow-up for that. So I don't know what that means either, but there's something going on with that too. I mean, and I've seen a lot of you guys have tried to piece together like some of the stuff that I put in my videos, or my like Spencer video and then my Arya video. And there's some of you guys have like amazing theories. Even suggesting that maybe like Arya was actually Mary's child and is a sister to Spencer. I don't know. There's some of you guys have come up with like amazing things, like you've just taken it to a whole nother level. And I don't know if they're going to do that on this show. Like, who knows what they're going to do, but, some of you guys are just rocking it in the comments with your theories, and I really appreciate that. But then I keep getting the comment that Melissa is AD. I'm getting that a ton. Well, I've been getting that a ton. So there's that. I mean, I don't know how to feel. I mean, any twin being AD is not exciting for me, but at this point, it kind of makes sense. So if they pull out Melissa, who we haven't seen in so long, it's like annoying too. Thank you, Charlie. Charlie, I appreciate it. You know, at least if it's Melissa, it's like not someone's twin, someone we know, someone that has been a part of the show forever. But the sad part is that we haven't seen her and she hasn't seemed to play a role in it And I don't know, I don't follow Marlene on Twitter anymore, but a lot of you were telling me that Marlene said last night, of course, you can't always trust her, but a lot of you were saying Marlene said there were major clues as to who AD is in last night's episode. And maybe I missed it, but I did not pick up anything about Melissa at all. So if she actually said that and she's actually telling the truth, I don't see how it can be Melissa, because, oh my God, like was there something about Melissa in that episode? I don't know. Jan says, what do I make of the whole Miss Arya, you're a killer, not Ezra's wife? So again, that was when Mona was having like her breakdown, and she was in Radley, I think, when she said that, which is also Maya knew. I don't know. I mean, right? So I mean, maybe she's always suspected Arya, and maybe it's been the twin all along. I don't know. Does that mean anything? I don't know. Does the Eddie Lamb scene mean anything? I want all of the stuff that's happened in this show to connect and mean something and apply to who AD is, but maybe I'm hoping too much, you know? Thank you, Andy. I think it's my lipstick, actually, but everyone's being really nice with saying that. I just have a different lipstick color on. Thank you so much. Yeah, and some people are wondering, will they go with the books, as Miguel is saying? Will Allie have a twin? You know, I don't know. Will they? I don't know. Could they? Yeah. I mean, something was wrong about Allie falling when she was supposedly chasing after AD. And she said that someone pushed her, but something was not right about that scene. Shalisa says, and just like that, Ezra forgave Arya for writing the report and made her look even dumber for betraying her friends. It did really bother me about what was in the file. It was such a letdown, and it concerns me about the AD reveal, because that was really played up, and it was a huge, you know, letdown, a bunch of nothing. So I hope that there's not going to be something real. Who knows? But, you know, of course they're really playing up who AD is, but I'm hoping it's not as stupid as what was in the file. So she did all this stuff, and he knew about it anyway. And I still think with the stuff that was in the file, to me, that would not justify the stuff she did, especially with the nursery and all of that. But that is just me. Nature I Lover just wants answers, good ones. Yes. I mean, you know, in 2 weeks, we will get all the answers we have to. The show's ending. So you have that to look forward to. Do I think Mona killed Charlotte? Ask LOL 9709. Possibly, yeah, I think possibly. I'm not really sure why, though. I'm not sure what her reasoning would be, but possibly. Maybe she did it because she thought she was helping them. I think deep down, Mona wants to help the girls and thinks she's helping them, but she has her own issues. Ashley's asking about Jason. Lots of people commenting Jason is AD. I don't know. Again, I don't see them doing that because we haven't seen him forever. Because people have been saying, well, Jason was in love with Arya, and that's why AD's being nice to her. You know, I mean, what is his motivation? If he may have a good motivation, and I don't know what it is. Charlie Louise says, your guess is the original Nat Club, Jason, Melissa, Wren, or, you know, someone random, because we know they aren't afraid to go there after the CC reveal. Though I think, don't you guys think you'll feel weird if it ends up being like Jason? To me, if they've known, and they have to know at this point, like if they knew even like this year they wanted to make him AD, why isn't he at least mentioned? Or why aren't we having anything connecting him or seeing him or something? Like they're just going to bring him back in the finale. I mean, that's disappointing. I'm going to be watching the finale live on here with you guys. So you will see like my real reaction to everything. I just think that's better than, I'm going to see what I can do. I mean, I'm going to try to leave it up, but I've had issues before of doing like live shows, watching it live, and then putting, you know, letting it go to my channel, because they, for some reason, like the companies like the WB do not like that, their TV studios or whatever. So they may take it down. But I'm going to try to watch it so like you can see my reaction when we find out who AD is, because I think it's just more exciting to see it that way than to see it on tape. So if you can make it for the East Coast, you know, viewing of this, I will be on here live, and hopefully I'll be able to save the whole thing and put it up, but I'll probably record it anyway, just in case that gets taken down. I'm going to try. We'll see what we can do, but I'll definitely be on here live, but I'll say I will try to get that original entire thing. And I cannot show you the TV. So I'm sorry, I'll just go ahead and say that now, because some people think that I can, and I just cannot. Okay, Anna says, do I think that in the finale we will find out exactly what happened that night? Yes, in my dream situation with how the finale would end, if I were writing it, I would go back and show everything that went down the night she disappeared. But Will they do that? I don't know. I'm just really hoping. Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Alex says that AD could be Allison's doppelganger, like Twin Peaks, which is funny because probably a lot of you don't watch Twin Peaks, but I've had a few comments trying to connect Twin Peaks with Pretty Little Liars, which I think Pretty Little Liars has taken some inspiration from Twin Peaks. Mr. HOD Ali says it was Spencer's twin with Toby. Absolutely, can totally agree there. Jennifer's asking if I think there are two A's, one good who set Arya free and one bad. Really good point. And I think someone asked this before, but it went by too fast because we had also the person, I don't know if it was because they lost their phones, but we had an AD person who was FaceTiming who looked like Arya. And then we ended up with this person who sounded more like a man. Of course, it could be anyone because they're just, using things to distort their voice. So do we have, is it Mona who is being helpful or, pretending to be AD because she's like obsessed? And do we have another person who is AD who is being hurtful? I don't know. That's a good point though. Luke says, you think Mona did kill Charlotte and that's why she says, are you here to kill me in 720? And I think that promo is out there. I hope that's not a spoiler because I've definitely seen that before. Mario says, would I be satisfied with any unknown character being AD? No, but being said, if it's a twin, that's pretty much saying it's an unknown character. But I think they get around that by all the cast members who do interviews say that, it's a person that we know but don't know, it's a person we've seen before. I don't think it's going to be like a person we've never seen before. I really don't think they would go there and like make it someone's cousin or something whose face we've never seen or whatever. But I definitely think the twin possibility is something that you should all get ready for because they've already kind of said that in the interviews. And that's why I still think it's going to be a twin. You know the person, but you don't really know the person. You've seen them before, but it was shocking, because if I know the person, but I don't really know the person, that doesn't apply to Jason. That doesn't apply to Melissa. It applies to someone's twin because we probably have seen them, or they will say that we've seen them throughout the years. We definitely think we've seen Spencer's twin this time around, even if that's who AD is. But I just think we should all prepare for, that's my number one guess. And I will tell you that when I make my finale prediction, my final finale prediction, which will go live the night before the finale, unless something happens to completely change my mind next week, that a twin will be my guess for AD, my final guess. Again, when I make these theory videos, I'm exploring possibilities that I feel that are strong candidates for AD, but I will make my final decision about how I think everything's going to play out. So you'll want to watch for that video, and that comes out the day before the finale. Kyle says, you think Arya has something to do with it? Marlene said, we can figure out who AD is from episode 1, and Arya was in the first scene in the series. And just like in Gossip Girl, when we saw Dan in front of the computer, and I'll stop reading that there just in case anyone hasn't caught up on Gossip Girl. But, it's an old show, but I don't want to spoil anyone. But yeah, I think that's a good point. Deja says, you feel like with Cece saying, am I supposed to be afraid of you? In the promo next week, she wouldn't be talking to Mona, but someone like Ezra. That was interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool, that little snippet we got of Cece, because the way she looked at that person, it was someone that she trusted. And I kind of took, honestly, the way that her expression was to me, it's a guy. That's kind of what I feel like. Ralph says the person who killed Charlotte is not the same person as AD. Right, absolutely. And if AD is trying to out her killer, so is AD actually a good person? Well, there could be the issue that AD thinks that one of the girls either killed Charlotte or is involved or knows about it or something like that. But if they want us to believe that this AD has been the AD since the beginning, I don't know how we can believe that they are a good person because, this is going on before Charlotte was killed. So they don't really have an excuse at that point. So again, I think most of us do know that, but just in case you were confused, AD wants to know who killed Charlotte. So AD did not kill Charlotte. So that is someone else. And I don't know what their reasoning was. I don't know if we will find out their motivation for killing Charlotte next week, but we find out who did. So, I mean, hey, we've got 2 episodes left. Courtney says in the beginning, AD was all about finding Cece's murderer, and now it's like they don't care. What's up with that? Maybe they feel like they found the murderer. I don't know. Maybe they feel like they know who it is, and that person, they have a plan to pay that person back, which happens next week. Jesselyn says, do I think AD was on the A team? Yeah, for sure. Probably the president. Miriam says, what if AD did kill Charlotte and is just covering it? I don't think so, but you never know. John says, what do I think of when Mona put the glasses on? Yes, those were the glasses that she used when she was loser Mona. And I just think that she didn't want to play the game because she knew what was going to happen. And just, it's her nature to get obsessed with those kind of things. And so now she's like pulled back in and is obsessed with, doing whatever she's doing with the game, which I still think it's something to help them. I don't think she's trying to hurt them. I just think that she probably thinks she knows who AD is and is trying to go after that person herself. That's what I think. And Shalisa says Mona is a huge red herring, and kind of just what I said, is obsessed with the game. Danielle's asking what happened to Jenna. I don't know. We kind of saw her a little bit this half of the season, and now she's disappeared. That's kind of what happens on the show, but it is weird. Courtney's wondering if Jenna is chilling in the basement somewhere, drinking tea and reading the in-game binder. I don't know. What is she doing? I don't know. I mean, I definitely think if there is an AD team, that she's a member. Claire says, what if Mona got switched out for a twin in the dollhouse? So does Mona have a twin? I'm not sure. I don't think that we're going to have 3 sets of twins. 2 is a stretch. We already have Jessica and Mary. So 2 of the liars having twins to me is a little, well, it's very ridiculous, but maybe they're going to go there. I don't know. Abby says, how do I think AD will reveal themselves to the girls? Which is a good question. And I don't know if it'll be like a big reveal moment or if they will discover this person or figure it out themselves. I don't know. I don't know if it's, I mean, I don't necessarily think they're going to wait till the very end of the episode and like someone's going to, you know, take off the hoodie or whatever and be like, this is me. I don't know. I don't see it playing out that way. Travis, the artist, says Mona just wants to beat the game herself. I believe that. I think she's wanting to be on her own. That's why she wouldn't let Emily into her apartment, because she wants to figure it out. She wants to take this person down. And for those of you who wonder, like, is she going to be the one who dies? I would think yes, because who dies? I would think yes, because I think that she's going to do too much and find out and get too close, and then that person's going to have to take her down. Claire says, Janelle says it will happen all at once and they will guess during the reveal. Yeah, and I think Ashley Benson, I saw an interview with her where she was saying, like, everything's just going to unfold, like, at one time. There's 323 people in here. That's definitely a record for any live show I've ever done, so thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. Cynthia says, Charlotte says, why would I be scared of you? Yeah, it's definitely whoever killed Charlotte is someone she trusted and someone she knew. So I guess, you know, they were right behind her and she trusted them and she thought they were joking or whatever. Like if they said they were going to hurt her, she thought they were just playing around, and actually they weren't. So with that being said, who do you think killed her and why? We can talk about that. Luke says in the 719 promo, they showed the video of Allison and Ian at the kissing rock scene. Oh, really? But that is the night she disappeared. So I do think we need to find out more information about that. Like, definitely, if not next week in the finale. Deja doesn't blame Mona for wanting to figure out who AD is herself, because the girls slow her down and are idiots when it comes to trying to solve a mystery. Yeah, and they also do a lot of stuff to kind of mess her up as well. So I think you're right about that. Ralph thinks that Mona will be killed by a booby trap in the game board. Like, we have seen knives and stuff come out of there. Who knows what else happens? And AD made a phone like blow up last night. So, you know, it may stab her or something. That's terrible, but you never know. Or may blow up. I have no idea. Julian says you hope it's a big reveal. I have not read a synopsis. I really try to stay away from that stuff, but I will watch the promos because, you know, those have to be safe. Who do I think is more shady, Jessica or Mary? I actually think Mary is okay, Stefana. After last week's episode, she seemed to be an okay person, and I don't think she's like on the AD team anymore. Shahika says you think there's something else in the file, but Arya is trying to hide it with something dumb. Cynthia says Kenneth would be a good person to kill Charlotte. Simona thinks Mona killed Charlotte and AD is Melissa, and Melissa and Charlotte were lovers, which would be an interesting twist. Danielle says, what is the Patsy Cline connection? Points to an older adult. Well, you know, that's true, but then some younger people like older things. So that's what I thought when I heard both of those songs, and I know that they're favorites of AD's, but you know, remember there's also a connection to like old movies, which kind of reminded me of this scene last week when Arya and Ezra were watching an old movie again. But remember, doesn't AD like always like old black and white movies? I don't know. Shalisa thinks that Ezra or Lucas killed Charlotte. And I definitely could see it being Lucas. And I originally thought it was Ezra, but I could see it being Lucas because I don't know, maybe he just felt betrayed by his friend or whatever. And that would be someone she felt really safe with because they were really good friends. So she would say something like, "What, are you going to hurt me?" Because you would say that to your friend. You would be like, "Whatever, like you're my best friend, or you used to be my best friend, or whatever." Mina thinks it's Sarah Harvey, Shower Harvey, who killed her. Marge says you hope that in next week's episode, Ezra will tell someone about his encounter with Ren and Spencer at the airport. Well, hopefully so, because we've got to figure out, how is Spencer's twin going to be outed? Like, no one really has picked up on that, I don't think. So, I mean, the girls definitely haven't. And Ashley says maybe Lucas killed Charlotte for Hannah. Brianna says you honestly think it's going to be a book within a book, which I would really hate that. I mean, two ways to really destroy this finale in the show for me would be for it to be all a dream and for it to be Ezra's book or something, or a book by someone else. Like, I don't like that. That's just total cop-outs when someone tries to end something by saying, like, it never really happened. That's just a disservice to the fans because, like, I don't want to believe that 7 years happened, but it didn't really happen. Obviously, none of this really happened because this is fiction, but you know what I mean. That would just be a really, really, really bad ending. It's just so played out and cliche. Anything and everything thinks Toby killed Charlotte. And for those of you guessing, like, who killed Charlotte, you can let me know why. Like, why do you think these people did it? Jeffrey's wondering if the ending is Ezra writing about what happened to the girls. But anyway, I think over the next week, we need to think about, if possible, who likes Arya. A couple of things. Who likes Arya so much that they would do whatever to protect her and single her out from the girls and say she's the game winner? Who has such a special relationship with Charlotte that they were desperate to find out who killed her? And is Allie really pregnant? And are they going to address, like, who is the baby's father? I feel like they have to. And the father has to be connected somehow to the AD team, because who would be sick enough to do that, right? Unless she's somehow in on it, I don't know how many. I mean, we have a lot of things that we need to know that will probably not be revealed until the finale. But thankfully, they're giving us who killed Charlotte next week. Again, I don't know if they're going to tell us why this person did it. That should be interesting to find out. But for those of you who felt like some of these episodes are slow or fillers or whatever, I don't think next week's will be. I just don't see how. They may make it that way, I mean, but I think especially with the Who Killed Charlotte reveal that it should be a good episode. So I think the time for slow episodes or where nothing happens or whatever has to be over. Like, it has to be. Sadly, really crazy. We only have 2 videos. Thank you, Ellie. 2 videos. I just read the word videos, but 2 episodes left. Thank you, Ellie. I appreciate it. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for being here. If I didn't get to your comment, this video will be up in like 5 minutes on my channel. So please go comment there. I'm trying my best to reply to as many of you as I can on my channel. And again, if you send me any types of photos or whatever, I'm just going to assume those are spoilers, like on social media. So for now, I'm just not going to be able to respond to those people because I've gotten probably 15 or 20 today. So no, I know people don't mean to be malicious for the most part. So I'm not mad at anyone, but just a heads up, if I'm not going to respond because I don't want to open those. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. I love you guys. I love chatting about this show with you guys, and I will definitely miss that so much when it ends here in a couple of weeks. But I hope you guys are having a great week. And of course, I'll see you soon with a new PLL video. Bye, guys.